Today we are going to take a look at The Simpsons' portrayal of Hamlet. This first appeared in Season 13, Episode 14. The segment itself is called Do the Bardman, and the episode is titled Tales from the Public Domain.
Our next story is Hamlet by William Shakespeare.
Dad, these old stories can't compare with our modern super writers. Stephen Bochco could kick Shakespeare's ass.
Look, this story's more interesting than you think. It starts with Hamlet's father getting murdered.
Cool. Does he get to marry his mom?
I don't know, but that would be hot. Once upon a time, there was a young prince of Denmark.
First, let's meet our players. In this adaptation, the role of Old Hamlet, or the Ghost, is played by Homer Simpson, the patriarch of the Simpson clan. Marge Simpson is portraying the role of Gertrude. Lisa is portraying the role of Ophelia. Bart is filling the role of Hamlet. Claudius will be played by Mo Slezak. Chief Wiggum will be playing the role of Polonius. The chief's son Ralph will be playing Laertes. And Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are portrayed by Carl and Lenny. You might be wondering why The Simpsons. Isn't that just a cartoon for adults where the main character drinks a lot of beer and makes a lot of mistakes? Actually, no. Because The Simpsons have been around since the early 90s, most Americans possess some prior knowledge about the series. Ginger Eichmeyer in 2008 said that The Simpsons is a great series in which to introduce literature because of this prior knowledge or schema. A viewer is then able to build a bridge between the previously established schema of The Simpsons and whatever the new literary story is they're encountering. Because of the development of this series, there's little seasonal plot line, and the characters don't age. So you can view one episode or even a segment of the episode, such as this, and not be confused about a backstory.
Hamlet, avenge me!
Dad?
Yes, I have returned from the dead.
Looks like you've returned from the buffet.
Why, you little...
Hamlet first encounters the ghost in his bedroom. This eliminates the characters of Horatio, Bernardo, and Marcellus, and the scenes where they first question if they have or have not seen the ghost while they were on watch.
My son, I have some shocking news. I was murdered. Murdered, I tells ya!
Really?
Behold, as I slept, your Uncle Claudius poured poison in my ear. Poison most foul! So he could marry your mother and become the king!
Yeah, that was quite a weekend.
With Bart's statement of, yeah, that was quite a weekend, the viewer really doesn't get to experience the same disgust and loathing for the situation that's included in Shakespeare's text. Let's see how Horatio and Hamlet discuss these events of the weekend. When Hamlet asks why Horatio is in town, Horatio replies, "My lord, I came to see your father's funeral." And Hamlet replies, "I pray thee do not mock me, fellow student. I think it was to see my mother's wedding." Horatio then replies, "Indeed, my lord, it followed hard upon." And Hamlet jokes that it's because the family is frugal, and says, "Thrift, thrift, Horatio, the funeral brake meets did coldly furnish forth the marriage tables." Hamlet quickly loses his sarcasm, though, and tells his friend Horatio that he would rather have never experienced those times. He then says, "My father, methinks I see my father." At this point, Horatio takes the opportunity to tell Hamlet think that they have seen the ghost of old Hamlet. These scenes, obviously, though, have been eliminated.
Now you must avenge me! Avenge me!
How?
I don't know. Surprise me! Surprise me!
Another difference between this and the Shakespeare text is that it's Hamlet that expresses the suspicion that the ghost may not have the best intentions. In Act 1, Scene 4, it's Marcellus and Horatio who are a bit doubtful about the ghost and his reasons for revisiting the castle.
Could that fat ghost be telling the truth? First, I've got to get Uncle Claudius to confess. Then I've got to kill him.
The viewer first meets Claudius, played by Mo Slezak, right before the play within a play. To someone who's familiar with the series, Moe's a perfect choice because he has affection for Marge. To a viewer who's unfamiliar, well, he's just a little creepy.
I love these jesters. They're exactly what I need to forget about my first husband.
Yeah, I really missed the old guy. It was all I could do to put on his jewels and score with his wife every night. How you doing, kid? Nice to see you.
Instead of a production of The Mousetrap, like in Act 2, Scene 2, this is presented in more of the form of an improv comedy show, where Hamlet takes the opportunity to shout out some incriminating details. This is also the only time when Shakespeare's words are used as Hamlet utters, "Ah, methinks the play's the thing, wherein I'll catch the conscience of the king," located at lines 603 to 605. The characters also take an opportunity to poke a little fun at the idea behind a soliloquy, and the idea that it's not supposed to be heard by any other characters on stage.
Now, we would like to warn you, our performances tend to make audience members blurt out hidden secrets.
Oh, boy.
Aha! Methinks the play's the thing, wherein I'll catch the conscience of the king.
Catch my conscience? What?
You're not supposed to hear me. That's a soliloquy.
Okay, well, I'll do a soliloquy, too. Note to self, kill that kid.
Okay, we're gonna open it up with a little improv. Somebody shout out a location.
This castle!
Okay, how about an occupation?
Usurper of the throne!
Ugh.
I think I heard usurper of the throne. Now, finally, I need an object.
Ear poison!
Hey, do you have diarrhea? I have diarrhea.
Sit down.
Wait a minute. I didn't use that much poison. I mean, I didn't use that much poi, son, at the Royal Luau.
Daddy, it's true! Uncle Claudius murdered you!
Oh, great. Now Hamlet's acting crazy. Well, nobody out-crazies Ophelia. Hey, nanny with a hoo and a haw and a nanny hey!
This is the first and only time that a viewer encounters Ophelia. There's no mention of a romantic relationship with Hamlet, nor is she linked to Polonius and Laertes as daughter and sister. This is also the only time when Hamlet's craziness or mental instability is mentioned as well. It almost seems as if Ophelia is making it a competition of sorts. It's possible the series didn't follow the plot line with a potential for romance between Hamlet and Ophelia because in this series Bart and Lisa are siblings. Also, Ophelia's internal struggles, that of wanting to obey her father's wishes, heed her brother's warnings, or explore her own feelings for Hamlet, aren't discussed at all. She simply jumps out of the window and into the moat. The idea of if her drowning was intentional or not isn't addressed either.
Ah! Hamlet, what'd I tell you about running with swords?
Someone's behind the curtain. It could be Claudius. Only one way to find out.
Ow! Ow!
Polonius? What are you doing behind the curtain?
I hide behind curtains because I have a fear of getting stabbed.
Daddy's stomach is crying.
Laertes, you gotta do a special big boy job for Daddy. I need you to avenge my death.
I like revenge.
Here we're introduced to Laertes and Polonius, played by Ralph and Chief Wiggum. Polonius is stabbed by Hamlet through the curtain while he's hiding in Gertrude's chamber, although his intent of spying is not relayed to Hamlet after he asks, "Why were you hiding behind the curtain?" It makes sense that Wiggum is Polonius because he kind of bumbles through his duties as police chief, the way Polonius bumbles through his wordy speeches, or else the way that Gertrude refers to him. Ralph, for those unfamiliar to the series, is kind-hearted but somewhat dim-witted. He's easily manipulated, and he kind of acts like he's in his own world. Here, Laertes asks him to avenge his death, kind of foiling Hamlet. Some wonder if Laertes was used as a pawn by Claudius, and really Ralph's a good fit for this because Ralph's easily manipulated, and it would be accurate to assume that Ralph would obey the wishes of authority figures.
I'm gonna kill Hamlet. Here's my mad face.
Cute kid. But just in case you don't kill Hamlet, I put some poison on the food, on the grapes, even on Rosenkarl and Gildenlenny here.
If Hamlet touches either of us, he's dead.
Booyah!
Here, at the beginning of the duel scene, we see Laertes' eagerness for revenge, and we also see Claudius's plan to have a backup murder ability with the poisoning. Instead of just poisoning the pearl, however, our Claudius has poisoned just about everything, including Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, who die as the result of a lethal high five. You could compare this to their death in the play, because Guildenstern readily volunteers the payer to take the execution notice to England. They were just unaware of the fact that Hamlet would intercept that order and rewrite it to order their deaths.
Now, Hamlet, you know the rules. Laertes here gets one practice stab.
Oh, boy!
Boy, did I bet on a wrong horse.
Now there's nothing to stop me from getting my vengeance.
You sure you don't want a nice piece of fish or to finger the drapes a little?
This ends here.
Oh. Remember me as a peacemaker. Ah.
And now to celebrate life. Whoa, bloody floor! Ugh.
No way I'm cleaning up this mess.
At the end of this scene, the death toll is similar to that of Shakespeare's version, although the details surrounding those deaths are not the same. Let's take a look at how everyone passes at the end of The Simpsons' Hamlet. Laertes dies as a result of his practice stab, which is somewhat similar to dying by the poisoned sword in the play, even though it's Hamlet that delivers that blow. Laertes doesn't have time to tell Hamlet about Claudius's poison addiction in the cartoon, though. Claudius dies by the poisoned sword, but he isn't forced to drink the poisoned wine in the cartoon. Hamlet unfortunately slips on the poisoned blood. He doesn't die by a direct hit from the poisoned sword. At the end, Gertrude chooses to take her own life because she doesn't want to clean up the mess. In Act 5, Scene 2, when Hamlet's dying, he says, "But I do prophesy the election lights on Fortinbras. He has my dying voice, so tell him, with the occurrence, more or less, which is solicited. The rest is silence." Here, Hamlet's telling Horatio to tell his tale, and he's also issuing support to Fortinbras for taking over the territory. But who is responsible for telling Hamlet's tale in this version? If you think about it, it's Homer who is holding the book at the beginning of the frame story, and he's the one who encourages the children to listen to the tale of Hamlet. Is it safe to assume that Homer is the one who's in the position to speak to the yet unknowing world how these things came about? If you think about it, the average viewer of The Simpsons might not have as much in-depth knowledge of the play of Hamlet as we do before the episode. It's very possible, though, that after this episode, a viewer may find a newborn interest in Hamlet by building the bridge between those connections.
And that's the greatest thing ever written.
Are you crazy? I can't believe a play where every character is murdered could be so boring.
So how would the Bardman feel about this adaptation? In 2005, the director of University of Pennsylvania's Linguistic Data Consortium, Mart Lieberman, stated that he believed that The Simpsons had taken over from Shakespeare and the Bible as our culture's greatest source of idioms, catchphrases, and sundry other textual allusions. Would Shakespeare agree with that, or would he just be content to think that imitation was the sincerest form of flattery? Who knows? Thanks for watching.